I'm Albert Pedraza. I'm a data analyst for Noumena, the company that is also explaining you in this course some how we develop our workflow inside the urban scenes and how we analyze how we make data analysis. So in this case, I'm going to explain data analytics for evidence-based on urban planning. I'm going to start by the introduction. So in Noumena, we use computer vision and artificial intelligence for extracting data from environments that we later want to analyze. We also collect invisible patterns and compile them into our analysis. We especially dive into urban analytics in the city of Barcelona, as my colleagues Salvador and Esther explained in our previous lectures together. So in today's lecture, we will revise the fundamentals that we apply in those projects, and we will discuss the practical implementations. Okay, so let's start by the first one. We're going to define what is computer vision and how can computer understand videos. So computer vision is a field of artificial intelligence and computer science that focuses on enabling machines to interpret and understand visual information from the world around us. So at the end, it's that computer vision enables us to read images and transform them to actual data. So those algorithms analyze the visual content, including shapes, colors, motion, and they extract features from it. And these features can later be labeled and used to train artificial intelligence models that help us to recognize objects, actions, or scenes, for example. This is a process of interpretation and understanding the content that is present on those images. And as I said, we can later train models to recognize the objects or actions using machine learning techniques. So in Noumena, we use a concrete workflow that we advise to use. It's 4 steps. The first step is the data collection using our camera devices that are deployed in place in the different streets. Then there is a data preprocessing that enables us to enhance the collected images, and it removes brightness and the problems that may occur for those images to make it better. Then we deploy the AI algorithm. It's the most crucial aspect of the workflow because we need to train the model for a concrete task, so we need to understand it. This means having a data set with manually annotated images for that task or with an automatic process, which can later the model be trained. This model will be able to predict new data from new images. Then the last part is the data post-processing, that it serves us to clear, collect, and organize the output from the previous algorithm and create some visualizations to achieve meaningfulness. Okay, so we're going to start with data collection. This is the source of information. This is the methodology that we use for our source of information. It is the input of the training process. So we need to collect data with variance and balance between classes. Let's say the same number of images between each class to achieve more quality during the training process. And so it constructs a better model for our project. So let's say in this case, we need to have a similar number of images that show dogs and a similar that show cats. It is important to have large amounts of data with lots of variety, as I said, and they are really representative for the task that we want to achieve. There are lots of data sets online that contain more than 100,000 images. For example, the most important ones that I want to outline are the ImageNet, that is a dataset for researchers. It has lots of images, as you can see. There is also kinetics, that is a Creative Commons attribution, has a clips of human actions. And then there is also the Coco dataset, that it has more than 200,000 images labeled, and it has 80 classes from different objects, let's say chairs, tables, birds, stop signs from the city, so we can later use in our models. This is a huge source for information. So then we apply data preprocessing. In this stage, we enhance the data to make sure that the training process can be applied positively and improve its performance. This can be done by producing more data, for example, using augmentation techniques or encoding the actual images or videos in better characteristics for the input of the models. So we can see some examples for, let's say, a binarization, enhancement, restoration of the image. So we then get the real value of the images. Then it's time for implementing our algorithm. And in this stage, it is where the image computation takes place. It is used trained model, so we already trained the model for the task that we want to achieve, and then it will be able to make predictions on new images for a concrete task, and then extract the data from them. Also, it is important to remind you that during the training process, we need to make sure that we are not overfitting the model for the concrete set of data, and that it produces a good output for the tasting data that we use. There are different types of algorithms that I present. They can solve different problems in our society, and it is really important that when we develop those algorithms, we focus on the pros and cons for each different task. So we need to also make sure what are the limitations of our algorithm. So the data we present, it really makes sense. As you can see, there is an example for human pose estimation, that we track each person and its different kinetics. There is also a disease detection implementation, so the model can predict where the disease is, or if the scan, let's say, have a disease or not. Also, there is the semantic segmentation where we can extract the different classes from the images. Let's say kids are playing with a ball, so we can get the information maybe only from kids or maybe only from the ball, so we can track the different objects. And there is also implemented the face detection, where we can recognize where the face of the human is. At the end, we used a data post-processing stage that collects all the data from the output of the algorithm and creates a proper data organization. We can also apply operations of filtering, thresholding, not maximum suppression, to clean the final output. Then from this organized data, we can extrapolate meaning, create charts, build visualizations, etc. In our case, we create visualizations using a database, and then we developed a backend and a frontend, let's say a visual platform for the client or the users. Then I'm going to explain some practical examples that I say that there are codes, because we can use it, like we can implement them from real scenarios. So the first one is the use case of face detection. Um, in this case, it is used a pre-trained version of YOLO. It has been trained on an available dataset that it's called Wider Face. This dataset presents a collection of faces from the web. It is a dataset that is not disturbing the privacy of people. which means it's only publicly available faces with strong generalization, collecting different poses, expressions, occlusions, and it's not disregarding gender and race biases. So it has been a good generalizations of how people are looking. We can track human faces, including eye positions, etc. In a more advanced analysis, we could, from that initial detection, we could, for example, train a model to predict emotions, but this is a more advanced technique. It can also be applied to robotics, let's say, to track, to help a robot recognize human faces. Or obviously, there are like ethical concerns that arise with this situation as it could be transformed into a surveillance application. So governments and institutions need to protect the citizens for the rise of these technologies. Also, understanding them gives developers a critical standpoint, which serves to think critically about which data they are using. Inside Noumena, we anonymize all information regarding people's identities, and we only extract data for coordinates position, age, and gender estimation. We do not attack people in terms of privacy concerns. Another use case that can be used in real scenarios is the image that you can see. It has been produced using a pre-trained YOLO model with the COCO dataset that I mentioned before, that contains more than 200,000 images on 80 different classes of objects. So these detected objects um, are being applied, and then the original image is segmented into different classes. In this case, the gray class is a person, the green class is a chair, and the pink one is a stop sign. It can be used in urban environments for tracking concrete objects and segmenting them from the original image. For example, from the different masks that segment the image with predictions, we could extract only the visible person from an image. So then we can remove all the noise around and we can get only the visible persons. We could do that for any class inside the COCO dataset using this YOLO pre-trained model. For the urban scene segmentation use case, we can see that the result is the image that I'm showing you. It is an example of segmentation of a whole urban scene. So it has been trained on a dataset that is called Cityscapes, which has annotated urban images across Europe, let's say from different cities of Europe. People have collected different images from the pedestrian visibility, and they have been collected, and then they trained a model that is able to segment, let's say, vegetation, pedestrian, road, bicycles, the sky automatically from the image. In these cases, as I said, we can see trees, buildings, people that are displayed in different color, which represent the segmentation from the original image. Inside real use case scenarios, we could understand, for example, how a pedestrian senses the space of a modern city. Or maybe we could, from a perspective, know which percentage of vegetation we can perceive from the environment. So in this case, we can see that the trees would be segmented in purple. Purple is like a mask color that we apply, but we could also obtain those representations. Okay, so at the end, with the different components that were explained, we can understand how to extract data from urban locations. And with this information that was sent by the AI and computer vision algorithms, We can create new correlations between people and space, also maybe cars, and understand how the living environment develops. In Noumena, we can say that we tuned our algorithms to extract some conclusions from the Barcelona Green Axis deployment, as it was explained on other lessons, where it was implemented in the different streets of Barcelona. And we could extract information from the reurbanization of those spaces. So let's say if in a street now cars have been blocked, we see how it has affected the traffic, the density of the space, and how we can extract the data and create conclusions or meaning for that scenario. So this is the end for me. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.